Welcome back, System Wars. This is part 2 of our top 5 games of last gen. So let's pick it up where we left off.
What's your get this game out of here?
I'd say out of that list, I'd say it's got to be Fallout 3. I think Dark Souls, Red Dead, and Mass Effect 2 are just
better. Fallout 3 was my pick.
Yeah.
And while I think it was the best game that Bethesda made last gen, as much as Skyrim visually impresses me, just like the whole size and scope of what they did there, I think that Fallout 3 was their best game. Wow.
I think it's definitely one of their most influential. I mean, people are clamoring for Fallout 4.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I think that the overall narrative kind of sucked. The whole, chasing after your father. There was some compelling elements to that, but not as maybe not as memorable as you would like from a top 5 of the entire generation type of a game. I mean, I really feel like you could make a case that Fallout 3 was one of the best Western RPGs of last generation, in the sense that it gave you so much consistently good content, and on top of it, it threw 5 pretty sizable DLCs that were all worth buying. I mean, when you look at the entire size and execution of that game, what it did, from everything from aesthetics, from surroundings, the greater Washington, D.C. area, to, the attention to stat control, to inventory, to characters, it's pretty tough to take a shit on Fallout 3. As much as, there's a lot of, the old school Fallout isometric type people that try to convince you around every corner that Fallout 3 is shit. It really isn't. It's a really good game.
But if we're gonna talk about DLCs and expanding worlds and all that stuff, I'm gonna bring up. I'd like to bring up Dark Souls, but there's a chance that if you even tried, if you play Dark Souls, you might not even see the DLC in that game. It's so difficult to get to. Red Dead Redemption had, I think, by far the most popular DLC.
Yeah, Undead
Nightmare. And Mass Effect 2 had some really standout stuff.
Mass Effect 2 DLC.
Shadow Broker. I think Firewalker. I thought Firewalker was okay.
I thought it was garbage. I thought that the Kasumi DLC was garbage.
Garbage.
It was like attending a cocktail party.
Yeah, where you steal from that rich guy.
Yeah. Shadow Broker was outstanding.
What was it? Shadow Broker. Oh, and
Overlord.
What was the last one?
Arrival.
I thought Arrival
that one wasn't very good though.
Yeah, that one was That was like a short nugget. It was the Batarian one, right?
Where you blow up the whole Batarian relay.
Yeah. Mass Effect 2 is not leaving this list. I'll fight tooth and nail. I'll fight till fucking.
Kyle.
I don't think Mass Effect 2 should go either.
Kyle.
What's up?
What's the game of that 5 that you feel like needs to get off the board?
I know what he's gonna say.
Fallout 3.
Oh.
Kyle over Dark Souls.
Well, I mean, I'd rather play Dark Souls than Fallout 3.
Really?
I thought you were a Fallout guy.
Not really. I mean, the game's alright. It wasn't.
Really?
Say it. Shit on it.
I didn't think it was that great. I thought the combat. I didn't really like the VAT system that much.
Vats. I wish you could target the balls though. That would have been.
And I don't know. I just didn't. It didn't click with me personally.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm just for the sake of maybe speeding our process up here. There's something in Animal's taste that doesn't jive with that being in the top 5, and certainly Heil seems pretty, convicted in that. So if that's the game that falls off, then I'll live with it. I totally disagree with you. I think Fallout 3 is probably one of the top 3 games of last generation. But I mean, I don't know that I'm going to be able to change your mind on it.
Okay. Well, that leaves us with 7 games, and based on where this discussion has gone, Red Dead, Mass Effect 2, and Dark Souls seem like they're primed to actually compete with the other 3.
I think MGS4 has got to go.
Yeah.
It's got to go.
All right, so Metal Gear Solid 4 is off the
I
board.
love it, but those games are real top contenders.
So we're down to 6 games, so now you just have to drop one.
All right, list out what are our 6 games? Portal 2.
Portal 2, Uncharted 2, The Last of Us, Dark Souls, Red Dead Redemption, Mass Effect 2.
All right, boys, let's start doing it.
I have a fundamental issue.
Say it. Just say it.
Say it. No
I'm going to contradict maybe a little bit of what I said earlier, but I don't feel like the 2 Naughty Dog games should be on the list.
Both.
I think one of them Last of Us.
One of them has to be on there.
The Last of Us is a better game than Uncharted 2 in every conceivable way, shape, and form. You're never ever ever going to change my mind on that. The Last of Us is a better game than Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 is a great summarizer to me. It's got a lot of really great cinematic parts. It's got some average gameplay. I will never say it's better than average as far as its gameplay and parkour. It really came out at a time where I feel like it kicked the door in as far as like where video games were going, and I think it'll always be remembered for that. But as far as like top 5 games of the entire generation, I feel like Uncharted 2 has been eclipsed hand over fist several times. You can say you love the game, and you can say that the game was so important and so special, and it was, but I feel as though it's been eclipsed.
Heil, you first. You're the Sony guy.
No, I would say Last of Us is a better game too. So if we had to cut
Jesus,
one
we got agreeing Amanda over here. Jesus H Christ.
So, Animal, are you gonna let Uncharted 2 go? Because
I can agree.
Here's my question though. Let's say you're correct. You're all in agreement that Last of Us is better than Uncharted 2.
Mm-hmm.
Why should Uncharted 2 leave? If there's an argument to be made that it is better than the other 4 games.
Well, that's what I meant by saying I was kind of hesitant to say anything about the Naughty Dog games, just because if Naughty Dog happened to make 2 of the top 5 games of the entire generation, then those 2 games should be represented. But I don't think that Uncharted 2, after everything is said and done, take all of the other stuff aside, push it all to the side as far as like what it meant to gaming at the time, what it means to gaming now. I feel strongly that that game has been eclipsed by other games in what it set out to do.
Name some other games that eclipse it in its category, aside from The Last of Us.
In its category.
Yeah, third-person shooters.
Well, I think that some of the Gears games, I think Gears 3 was more fun than Uncharted 2.
Ooh.
No.
I do.
No,
I really do.
No.
I enjoyed it more.
Well, you'd be right if he wasn't wrong. So.
I mean,
I think Gears 3 was a really tight Gears game. I still think Gears of War 2.
Here's my rebuttal for Eroica. Just because Uncharted 2 happens to be really good in a genre that doesn't always give you great games, doesn't mean it should be on the list.
How about this? Are you ready for this?
Because this question isn't if there's a third-person shooter better than Uncharted 2. The real question is Portal 2 better than Uncharted 2?
Yeah.
Is Dark Souls better than Uncharted 2? Yeah. Is Red Dead? Is Mass Effect 2?
I think Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood are better than Uncharted 2. So what do you think about that?
Go suck it.
I do. I mean, I really do.
You do suck it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go suck it now.
Yeah, but Assassin's Creed 2 is cut.
I know.
Yeah, it's cut, bitch.
So
What are you gonna do?
Again, moving forward,
Moving forward, okay. So
is
fine.
anyone willing to say Uncharted 2 is better than the other games on this list other than The Last of Us?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I really think
Kyle?
Uncharted 2 is the weak link in there.
Like, you're really telling me how right now that you would rather play Dark Souls than Uncharted 2.
No, I wouldn't rather do that. I'm just trying to spread it out because The Last of Us is better than Uncharted 2. I think Dark Souls. I mean,
Don't
I
you
wouldn't
even
make
dare.
mine, but I think I'm gonna get outvoted by these two schmucks. So
So
I
you're
don't
willing
like
to
the
let
Souls
Uncharted 2
games.
go?
Dark Souls is my wild card right now.
it's a good wild card to have.
Well, I don't know how I'm gonna sway on that one, to be honest with you, because I don't-
I'm good. I'm good with Uncharted 2 going. It's an amazing game, but I think the other games on
Do more.
on the list, they do more and they're better.
Yeah.
They're different. They're different. They're all different.
I'm okay with letting it go.
I'm fine with it.
Kyle?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so now we have 5 video games. You made it this far, gentlemen. You should give yourself a round of applause.
Yay!
Oh my god.
It
Because
took
now
us
you
an
have to order it.
hour and 20 minutes to get 5 games.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah. So now you have to order it.
All right, so let's discuss the final 5.
let's
The
take a
final
look-
5
Fine.
are Mass Effect 2, Red Dead Redemption, Dark Souls, Portal 2, The Last of Us. I think Mass Effect 2 can be 5th.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Dark Souls can be 5th.
No.
Dark Souls 5th.
No. Nope.
That's
Nope,
2 out of 3, so it's 5th. Write it down, champ.
It doesn't become 2 out of 3 without my argument. Hold on.
Your argument so far has been
So wait, time
Eureka.
out. Let's talk about the games you guys have not actually discussed.
Okay.
Red Dead Redemption and Dark Souls have not been mentioned, at least not extensively, in this podcast. so
I want to
far.
start with Dark Souls.
All right.
Eureka.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna fucking call you out on your horse shit.
What are you gonna find some old post from a week ago where I said, "Oh my god, I can't believe how good Dark Souls is"? Because it's true. Dark Souls is a fucking legit game.
There you fucking go.
It is.
Dark
I'm not gonna-
Souls.
yeah.
Dark Souls kind of resurrected this old school gameplay.
It
Made
didn't.
it. What?
Well, it didn't resurrect anything. Technically, the game before it resurrected it.
Oh
And
yeah, Demon Souls. I'm
that-
sorry.
that
You're right. You're right. You're
assumes
right.
that it needed to be resurrected in the first place.
Well, I don't think anybody was asking for it. I think they just kind of made Demon. But this isn't about Demon Souls. This is Dark Souls. Dark Souls is such an interesting game, from the level design to the combat to the leveling up to the bosses to the go here, go there. Okay, that's great. Now you got to do this with the 4 Lord Souls, the Lord Vessel, the traversal stuff. Everything is just, finding different upgrade paths through all the different blacksmiths, finding all the people who hold all the miracles, the locations, the bosses, Seath, the Crystal Dragon, or Seath the Scaleless, the 4 Kings, Sith the Great Grey Wolf. Everything about that game is just really, really sharp. No, it's
You're a bitch for going back to that word.
no. It's really well. It's a really well crafted game, and it's an incredibly well thought out game.
It's a very satisfying game to play. It's a game that pushes you, and not to speak, philosophically about it or whatever, but it's a game that I feel like when you play it, your emotions get pushed to highs and lows more so maybe than a lot of other games push you in today's day and age. I feel like I can play through a lot of AAA games in my heart rate will stay the same. I feel like Dark Souls, I hang on every moment, every encounter, every move, every, push of a button is like a little bit more important. And
Every battle is a triumph.
well, yeah, I mean, and not to be cliche about it, but I mean, it's what makes the game special. The way that you approach every single enemy is what makes the game special, and I get that. The reality of it though is that when I look at it compared to Mass Effect 2, Red Dead Redemption, Portal 2, and The Last of Us, it's the game I've spent the least amount of time with, but it's also, I don't think that I could, in my right mind, put it ahead of any of those games. I think that I enjoyed those games
Far too much.
more so than I will eventually say when I'm done with Dark Souls, saying that I enjoyed Dark Souls.
You say that now.
Yeah,
Wait till you get further, man.
I know. Yeah,
Think
40,
about it.
50,
Think
60 hours. No, I mean, I get it. I mean, I certainly do, and
I
but-
think you'll come back a couple weeks from now when we play again, and you'll say, "Oh, you were right, Animal."
well,
He'll come
maybe.
back and say, "Guys, we had it all wrong.
it was all wrong. It was
We gotta redo that podcast. 'cause we
Oh,
fucked up."
God, yeah, we fucked up big time. Dark Souls supposed to be number 1.
So, before you guys put Dark Souls at 5th, Red Dead Redemption. 'Cause you guys really didn't talk about that one.
Red.
Highly.
That's a
So, what,
surprising,
what-
a surprising game for me. I thought I knew Rockstar was making it, but people were saying it was going to be a Western, Grand Theft Auto. I thought it was much more than that. It was a horse riding was actually a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and the scenery was
Gorgeous.
awesome, and I enjoyed the missions, and I thought the gunplay was at the time much better than anything Rockstar had done prior to that. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed the game a lot.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the whole Grand Theft Horse,
Theft Horse.
stigma was fun to play around with, but I think that the game had much more substance to it. I think that there were points at that game where I can still say are some of the most beautiful locales and I don't know what the right way to say it is. Not graphics.
Yeah, once you got into Mexico, it really.
I mean,
Aesthetic.
aesthetic. I mean, it oozed with flavor. It oozed with style, and the narrative was awesome. The ending was awesome. The side missions, the things that you did to help those that or whatever. All of the other non-playable characters. I mean, it really hit a stride right out of the gate that made the things that I was worried about, like how am I going to enjoy myself in a sparse open desert? Well, you just hunt like a motherfucker, or you save someone that's getting robbed by a carriage, and like they filled the game up with things to do in an open world in a place that I didn't think that it could be done. And on top of it, they told a really great story.
That story was really good.
Yeah. Red Dead to me is probably top 3, to be perfectly honest with you. Anyone? Ready for my top 5?
No, I'm not ready for your top 5.
So I'm
What's
guessing
going
Red
on?
Dead Redemption is not going to be as low as 5th.
No way. No way. Last of Us is 5th.
Last of Us
fucking
is
no
fifth.
way.
The Last of Us is 5th. No, I'm sorry. Dark Souls is 5th. The Last of Us is 4th. Portal 2 is 3.
No.
Red
No.
Dead is 2. ME2 is 1.
Where's
Even though
No.
it's the second best game in the series.
this is the stupidest fucking list ever.
Get
Go get. Are you just telling us to get fucked?
Get fucked.
Well, no. Hold on. Time out. What are your top 5s right now of this group? We
Yeah.
got his. Animal, what would be your top 5? With these
Dark
games?
Souls, Red Dead, ME2, Last of Us, Portal 2.
Heil?
That was from 5 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
5-1 now. You want?
Wait. That was 5-1. Redo that again.
It would be, what did I say?
Souls?
Dark Souls 2.
No, Dark Souls 1.
What the fuck? I'm starting to lose it. Dark Souls, Red Dead Redemption, Mass Effect 2, The Last of Us, Portal 2. That's 5-1.
Ohio.
Me, I would do for 5. I would do Dark Souls.
We can lock that in then, I guess.
Yeah, Dark Souls is 5.
4 would be.
You heathens have allowed it to go to 5.
4 would be I don't know, Red Dead Redemption, I guess. 3 would be Portal 2. 2 would be Mass Effect 2, and 1 would be The Last of Us.
So it sounds like 5 is definitely Dark Souls, but
Red Dead is Animal and Heil agree on Red Dead, but I have Red Dead higher.
yeah, Portal 2 is somewhere in the middle though. So far it hasn't reached very high on anyone's list, but Animals.
Yeah, Animal's got it at number 1. I'm willing to put Portal 2 in the top 3.
But like third?
God, fuck yeah. See, here's the thing is that, like, putting Portal 2 third is fine with me, but then I can't say that Portal 2 is better than Red Dead Redemption because I don't think I believe that.
I believe that. I believe in that universe and that gameplay and all that stuff in that game. The way they excuse me, the way they somehow made a game about portals interesting twice in a row and made the second game better. I mean, listen.
Arguably better.
Yeah, arguably. I can't say it.
Hey,
arguably better.
You're not going to get me to shit on Portal, man. I mean, if I'm being honest, if there was one game I could give a 10 out of 10 to from last gen, it would have been Portal 2. It doesn't mean that I think that it's the best game, but it was as close to perfect as I've played.
I think it's got to be above Red Dead and Mass Effect.
Above Mass Effect 2.
God, I know you love Mass Effect.
Good lord.
You're gonna have to make compromises in life, Jeff.
Yeah, I am compromising.
Hey, he's compromising Portal 2.
Yeah.
Shut up. He doesn't know that yet.
I don't know. I like
The Last of Us is at number 1 for you, Kyle?
Last of Us would be number 1 for me, yeah, for sure.
And number 2 for
Number 2, Animal. Number 2.
No. His number 2 was Last of Us, so that means your number 4 was Last of Us, right?
Yeah. I'll put. I'm willing to put The Last of Us at 3. I can't go above 3 with The Last of Us.
Why not?
I think the first thing you guys should figure out which one's 4th.
It's either got to be Mass Effect.
It's got to be Mass Effect 2 or Portal 2 with the way this is going.
2, yeah.
Unless it's Red Dead.
Number 4, we're saying, is either Mass Effect 2 or Portal 2.
Considering how high it is on their list, Last of Us, I don't think that's making it to 4th.
Last of Us can't be 4th.
Can I just say,
Eureka, there are people listen, I don't know how to put this. Not to say that this.
Oh wait, is this going to be about Mass Effect 3's ending?
No, this is going to be about The Last of Us. Listen, I don't care what anybody thinks about the remastered edition or whatnot. That game has caused The Last of Us has caused more of a stir, I think, this generation than as an exclusive. I think it's caused more of a stir than it's actually worth, which is saying something. I mean, I don't know what all the fucking fuss is about.
Well, I don't know what you're trying to say to me right now.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're saying the game's overrated, but you put
it's not overrated. It's not overrated. The Last of Us deserves its praises. I'm getting a little
Okay, but what are
delirious
you trying to
here.
get at?
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Moving on then.
Here's my reason why I can't put The Last of Us in the top 2 or 3. I don't feel as though as well as that story is told, and it is told well. It's not an original story, but it's told in a way that, as far as the video game medium is concerned, is very, very well done. I don't feel as though the gameplay is so good, like Portal 2's gameplay feels so good, or is as varied as, say, what Red Dead Redemption allows you to do. If I want to go hunting, if I want to go, fucking ride a unicorn, you know what I'm saying? Like, and where Mass Effect has so much more width to it. I feel like if anything holds back The Last of Us for me, it's the fact that I feel like I'm doing the same shit. When you break down to brass tacks, I'm doing the same shit for 15 hours.
Yeah, but you're
Well,
doing
hold
this.
on. Time out. Here's my question. Why is Red Dead Redemption forgiven for being repetitive in terms of like what you actually have to do in that game?
Bingo.
Because
Size
with
of it.
all due
That's what I was
respect to
gonna
all
get
the
back
side
to.
activities in Red Dead Redemption,
Yeah.
literally all of them are optional to the point it was like you could do this,
Sure.
but you're really only doing it for shits and giggles.
Okay.
Like there's no inherent value in hunting in that game.
I did it.
John Marston's plot is very much you go here, you shoot dudes.
Sure.
The game.
Sure. And maybe I'm giving it
the game.
maybe I'm giving it a slight pass because of the size of the game, because of the I don't want to use the word variety because that's not what I mean, but I guess the openness of it, I guess is the why I'm willing to give it a little bit more of a pass, where The Last of Us is a little bit more of a closed-in kind of very little exploration, just point A to point B type of thing. And I think I would be disappointed if The Last of Us was anything other than that, because I think that, again, what they set out to do, they did incredibly well because of the way that they told the story. But again, at the end of the day, the game is, this is a human section. I'm going to deal with these guys by throwing a bottle, or going over here. Oh, this is a clicker section. I'm going to be careful with the way that I move around. You know what I mean? Like nothing changes from the beginning to the end. In The Last of Us, you're just along the ride for what is an unbelievably well-told narrative.
That's partially true, but I think the individual encounters were open enough to like give you a little bit more leeway in what you could do. Like I don't think it suffers from what the Uncharted game suffered from, which is like it has one route of success and you're going to keep doing that over and over again.
I almost said The Last of Us is really just a better, well-told Splinter Cell Conviction, but I'm afraid of
what the
I'm afraid of what might happen. No, I mean, Champ, I know what you're saying. I mean, you certainly can. I mean, I've been back through The Last of Us and playing it and trying to broaden maybe my horizons as far as like what I'm willing to attempt gameplay-wise from scenario to scenario, but I still feel like the highs of The Last of Us are pretty well laid out to be played a particular way. Like, I think about the basement of, I want to say Pittsburgh, where you have to do the chain pull on the generator to get the electricity going in the building. You're down, I think the water covers most of the ground. And you yank on that chain, you get it going, and then the room floods with clickers and fucking bloaters and all sorts of other things. And there's one way out, and it's run like hell to that fucking door, swipe the card, and fucking get out before you die. Like there's no variety in.
You could kill those things.
Well,
You get a reward for it.
You can, but it's still going to be like that same type of standoff. I mean, it's going to be either a standoff or run like hell, is what I'm saying. It's not like you can be stealthy in scenes like that. Maybe I'm getting far off the beaten path here, but I feel like in your normal run of the mill scenes, yeah, I can like maybe choose to take things out differently. But again, it's does it not? I mean, am I wrong in that assumption? I mean, even when you get into
it has enough segments where you are told to play a certain way. Big example would be that one gate when you're with the two brothers.
Yep.
And you're trying to get through that gate with the lighthouse and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You got to take out the two dudes together, and then
Yep.
you get out of it. Like that's a very straightforward segment.
Right.
So very Do
literally
as you're
one way
told.
of doing it.
God, we're pushing.
At the same time, Red Dead Redemption's high points involve here is a chain gun, you're shooting dudes. You're going into this building where one of your scumbag ex-buddies is, you're going to shoot dudes.
Okay. All right. So how about this? How does this feel for you guys? Dark Souls 5, Red Dead Redemption 4.
Dark Souls. Oh, I thought you were Dark Souls 5 is out. That's how long this podcast has been.
I know. We're pushing an hour 37. Dark Souls is 5. Red Dead Redemption is 4. The Last of Us is 3. Portal 2, Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2 isn't going to be one. I'm not going to let your fanboyism win this.
Fuck you.
No, no, shut up.
No, I won't. Okay. All right.
Time out. Is everyone cool with Red Dead Redemption at 4th?
I am, yes.
Only if The Last of Us is 3.
Oh, what? Fine. Only if Mass Effect 2 isn't 1 then.
I'm okay with Portal 2 being the best game of Gen 7. It's fucking awesome. I'm okay. You know what? I love every one of these 5 games. I actually think that we're spending a lot of time, but that's what we're supposed to do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're supposed to do.
You've now discovered the horror of the Game of the Year process.
Right. Heil, he's
what
say
been
you,
pretty
man?
quiet.
Like, okay, Heil, here, I'm gonna set something up for you. Like, I know how much you love The Last of Us, and believe me, it's warranted because that game is unbelievable. Is there anything that would, or any game that's up, or any factor of where we stand right now, that would allow you to kind of see Last of Us lower than the number 1 spot?
I think Old Man River fell asleep.
I was like, I got work in the morning.
I'm here.
Oh.
For Mass Effect 2 would be the only game that would take my top spot just because of what the impact it had on me last gen. Amounts of fun.
See, Heil knows though, man. Heil knows. He's a fucking gamer.
I played that game 8 hours straight. I haven't played. I can't think of another game I played 8 hours straight.
So why is Portal 2 not 3rd?
Wait, so Red Dead Redemption is 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So here's try this on for size and tell me what you think. Dark Souls 5, Red Dead Redemption 4, Portal 3. I'm sorry, Portal 2.
Portal 3 came out?
Portal 2, 3. Last of Us 2, Mass Effect 2, 1.
I can't get on board with Mass Effect 1 being number 1. I think
Mass Effect 1 isn't number 1. Mass Effect 2 is number 1.
I mean, I'm sorry, Mass Effect 2 being number 1. I think The Last of Us and Portal 2 are much better games. I think they're a lot more mechanically sound. I think that they have more interesting premises.
Do they?
Yeah, to me at least, yeah, they do.
Not to me, they don't.
Yeah, to me they do. Yeah, you're also you're sucking on the teat of BioWare and Mass.
Yeah, but that
You're
that
sucking
doesn't
on the
seem like much of an
Naughty
argument.
Dog teat.
I'm not sucking on the Naughty Dog
Yeah.
teat.
Well, I'm not saying you really are. I'm just using what you just used on me.
No, that's because you are sucking on the Mass Effect
Dragon
teats.
Age Origins sucks dicks in hell. I don't ever want to play that game again.
Thank you. That game is atrocious.
Yeah, I don't want to play it ever again.
All
I
right,
hated it.
but
Jade Empire was really good. I hope they make another one.
sucking
Although it
on the
wasn't
teats,
perfect.
sucking on the teats. You don't have to like every game from every.
You're
developer.
you're right.
Time out. If we're like why would Mass Effect 2's premise be less impressive than the other? Because my question here is the worst thing you could say about Mass Effect 2's settings has always been that Mass Effect is this like patchwork sci-fi universe where they borrow so heavily from established franchises. At the same time,
So does The Last of Us.
anyone that has ever seen The Road or Children of Men knows the plot of The Last of Us.
Right.
I can't.
Also, post-apocalyptic worlds and fucking zombies have been done to death.
Yep.
I know. I just think that. I also think that Last of Us is a.
Plus, Joel has a shitty beard.
Oh, don't give me that shit. I think that I'm gonna come out and say it. Eureka, you can hate me for the rest of your life. I think The Last of Us is a better written game than Mass Effect 2.
One element.
What?
Yeah, that's
I
one.
think
That's one aspect. That's one aspect of a whole. I mean, the way
I
that
mean,
it's
but
written.
we can sit here and split hairs all
if
day
you-
about it.
if you're asking me in a moment of honesty, do I think that the interactions between the characters are more rich and compelling in The Last of Us as compared to Mass Effect 2? I would probably agree with you about The Last of Us being, coming out ahead in that conversation. However, that doesn't change the idea for me that the fucking suicide mission at the end was absolutely rip roaring fun, and all of those loyalty missions were all added depth to the comrades that flew around with me on the Normandy. And I mean, like, there's, just because the game was better or more well written doesn't mean that it was a better overall experience, I guess is what I'm saying.
It's not.
So back to Mass Effect. Here,
Ugh.
I have a question here. Two things. One,
It's
two disagreements. One, why should Mass Effect 2 be forgiven for how dumb the idea of the Terma Reaper is?
I was gonna bring that up.
Well, there's actually a theory behind that.
There is no theory to why he looks like the Terminator.
That's just art design. That
The
but-
That's
Reaper.
just lazy.
No, but there is a reason why they are making the Human Reaper. So I
Okay,
can,
fine. Shelf that. What about the issue that Mass Effect 2's plot is mostly, well, filler? Because that narrative is so driven by its characters and your
Yes.
love for the universe,
Yes.
and that part should be appreciated.
Yes.
The plot, however, not necessarily the strong point of that story. In fact, it might be its weakest element.
And it was knocked for that when the game released. I mean, people certainly said that the game is about the characters, and the main story is not as strong. But then again, would things like the suicide mission at the end be as well realized as it was? And I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but the suicide mission, the fact that your choices and your decisions and the things that you did to prepare for it through your interest level in deepening your relationship with the side characters actually tied into the way that you played out the end of the game. I mean, the game's main narrative maybe wasn't great, but what it did present for story and emotion and relationships was done pretty well. I mean, I've never met anyone that said that they didn't enjoy the whole loyalty mission aspect of Mass Effect 2. Despite the fact that the main narrative wasn't maybe super strong. And I'll say that, I mean, I'll give you, Last of Us is, my goodness, you can cut the thickness in those interactions with a knife. But I don't know, someone toss something out there though, because
it's
we've hit the wall.
I can
Yeah,
put
we should wrap it up.
I can put Mass Effect 2 at. This is just getting ridiculous. I can put it at 2, but I can put Last of Us at 3, but I think I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to argue at Portal 2 at 1. I loved Portal 2.
Portal 2 is just incredibly well written. It's very smart.
My question is how does Heil feel about Portal 2 at 1?
I'd
Heil,
rather The Last of Us, but
well, I'd rather Mass Effect 2.
I'd rather.
Portal 2 is great. I mean, they're all.
So,
every
hold
game
on.
might make a
Since-
case for being number one.
So yeah, here's my thing with Portal 2. Just a quick question. Portal 2 has large stretches where you are in like these random, where almost the game isn't being played. You're
It's like
just
the
listening
second
to
half
Cave Johnson
of the game.
talk. What?
It's like the second half of the game when you go into old.
Yeah, it's
After
just
Science.
Cave Johnson talking for large stretches, and you're literally almost doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then the few moments you are shooting at things, you're finding these arbitrary, random spots on walls that required them to patch in a zoom function
It is a puzzle game.
because of how badly thought out that was.
I'm not.
Like-
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can see.
I'm not saying condemn an entire game for it. I am
No.
saying like
Go ahead.
I am saying that like let's remember that Portal 2 like does have its moments where it was like, oh, okay, that's a little overkill.
I actually really thought that the Cave Johnson parts added flavor to the game for me.
Because Cave Johnson is awesome.
Right, but I mean,
Cave Johnson's probably better than Wheatley, but I'm saying like the part where you're listening is awesome. The part where you're interacting during those stretches not necessarily a strong point.
no, but I mean, is it really that overcoming in the game? I mean, I think of that Cave Johnson middle section as being like, kind of the bridge that gets you to the point where you're not just thinking in a manner of blue and orange circles, but you're thinking of, all of the other
Moon gels.
the moon gels and everything else. To me, it was the bridge that took you from what you originally thought Portal 2 was going to be into kind of blowing it out of the box a little bit with.
Correct, but it's a significant portion of that game, like a middle section of that
Really,
game.
you think so? Like, what do you think? The total of you walking around in the Cave Johnson hallways and
in an
up the
8-hour game,
areas.
let's say Portal 2 is an 8-hour game. I think that was at least an hour or two.
8-hour game.
Wasn't Portal 2 wasn't that long?
I was thinking it was a little over 10, but
Was
you might
it?
be
I mean,
right.
listen,
No, you
my
might be
memory
right.
of Portal 2 is foggy, and I come from the camp that
Yeah.
the original is a superior game. But I'm just saying, like, there are stretches of Portal 2 that were like, maybe the original did this better.
For a puzzle game, though, I mean,
I think the first game was the better puzzle game, but I'm not.
But
leave my argument out of this.
maybe.
I'm just asking.
Oh my god.
Was that part acceptable?
I'm waiting for someone to say three-way tie for first.
That's a puss way out. That's a puss way out.
No,
You guys
it's
gotta
not
pick a
gonna
third.
Never happen. I'll never let that happen. Even though I gotta.
All right, I'll level with you.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm losing my cool. I'm losing my cool. Like I started off strong. Now I'm just starting to like wane a bit.
Wait. Why should Mass Effect 2 not be in the top 2? Animal.
It can be in the top 2. It just I don't think it should be 1. I think Last of Us.
Why? You need a why now.
Why? Because I think
Portal 2 seems to like. Because here's the thing, I have not heard one argument against Portal 2 so far. Like not a real one. The one presented is mine. That doesn't count. You get what I'm saying?
I think Portal 2 is just so superior. Like
exactly. And I think there's an argument to be made against The Last of Us too, though. Like so far, I've heard it.
I think The Last of Us. See, you start to fall down the rabbit hole a bit. I think The Last of Us is a. I think Portal 2 is. I think it's see, I'm doing it again.
I'm not asking you to defend Portal 2. I'm asking you to. What is your argument against Mass Effect 2 for this top spot?
My argument against Mass Effect 2
because so far the only game that's had a major criticism so far has been Last of Us. Between these three, between the three of you.
Well, like I said, my major criticisms are the writing. And
what is wrong with the writing?
I'm not saying. I'm saying it's just. All right. See, now you're getting me. It's getting too late. Like you said, the fluff. It has a lot of fluff in it.
Okay.
Kind of like Red Dead, and while the fluff may be top-notch fluff, it's still fluff.
Yeah, but it's also a different game. It's going for something. Maybe that's not a good argument. Maybe that's not a good argument.
I don't know. See, I'm starting to lose my arguments too. It's just. Can we? All right. How about this? Can we agree?
How about I name you a top 5, and if you guys all agree,
wait.
on.
I'm gonna say this. Can we agree? Last of Us third.
I had originally had said Last of Us third. Last of Us is higher than it would have been on my own personal list. So to me, like The Last of Us is doing well. Anywhere you put The Last of Us in the top 5, it's doing well in my book. And I love The Last of Us, but it didn't resonate with me as much as it does with other people. But I'm happy with it at 3. I think 3 is a good spot for The Last of Us. I fucking love that game.
Kyle, are you cool with Last of Us a third?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna read you your top 5.
Kyle wants to go to bed.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read you this top 5, and if we're square,
All right.
we're set. Number
I'll just
5.
top 5 game of all time. I'm fine.
Yeah. Clearly, you guys need to do top 5 game of all time, like the middle of the day.
Yeah, we do.
Because, oh my god, that one's going to be ridiculous. Number 5, Dark Souls, because they're all heathens. Number 4, Red Dead Redemption.
Good.
Number 3, The Last of Us.
All right.
Number 2, Mass Effect 2. Number 1, Portal 2.
I'm happy with that, really. I mean, really, you can make an argument for any of those games. So I would agree with that list.
They're such top tier games.
They are.
I'll tell you what. Based on
The fact that you literally had nothing negative to say about Portal 2, I feel like that's ridiculous for that to go in.
I can't see. That's the thing, champ, and that's what I was just sitting here thinking in my head. Like, what are the things that I don't like about Mass Effect 2, and what are the things I don't like about Portal 2? And like when I think of Mass Effect 2, I think like, the Human Reaper was lame. I didn't like the mini game, the planet mining, and I didn't like the fact that they closed the universe, the Milky Way, up. And as stellar as I think Mass Effect 2 is, and I really do think that, I can't say a single thing about Portal 2 that I disliked.
I love how I said the mining was up.
I have one last argument against Portal 2.
Okay.
It would be hilarious if you guys put a Valve game at 3rd.
Oh.
Why is that?
Because they never
3.
count to 3.
Oh.
That's a good one.
I mean, if you guys are willing to go for the joke, I think that's great, and I respect it. Otherwise, based on your arguments, it's hard to accept that you guys had anything negative to say about Portal 2, because you guys kind of didn't.
I really don't.
I tried to
anything
fish
negative
one
to
out
say
of you
about
guys,
it.
and you guys are like, no, fuck that. I love that part.
You're very good at that, champ. I have to say.
Yeah.
You would have made a brilliant psychologist.
Yeah, it's Portal 2. I mean, I can't. Even when I go back and play Portal 2, I sit there. Even on the frustrating puzzles, I still feel like the same satisfaction when I finally figure it out. And when I get a buddy who wants to play some co-op, it's like I just can't find something wrong with that.
The co-op might actually be better than the single player.
I agree.
That's what I've heard people say.
I agree. Man, there's people that mod weekly or monthly maps for people to play and like
workshop.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of good going on in Portal 2. You know what? I'm cool with it. I'm going to put the Eroica stamp of approval on Dark Souls, Red Dead Redemption, The Last of Us, Mass Effect 2, and Portal 2.
And with surprise winner, Batman.
God.
I'm in awe that a Batman game never was in the discussion.
I was gonna put Batman on the list. I wasn't 100% sure.
Speaking of which, you guys should probably wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. Listen, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's 1:00 in the morning. Hyle, are you cool with that?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
I was like, please get me to bed.
He's an hour behind us too.
I'm very ready for Arkham Knight, but
Oh,
man.
So it's only midnight where he's at?
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
I wanna plug one last time. I wanna say thanks everyone for listening. Subscribe to Point Insertion, and you will get your. If you subscribe, you may be lucky enough to win a $20 Steam, Xbox Live, or PSN credit. At least thank you everyone for putting up with my bullshit. Champ, thank you as always.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for moderating this as well.
You guys clearly needed it.
Oh yeah, we would have been like,
we
fucking-
never would have made it.
Yeah.
We would have been.
I'm ready. I'm ready to do a next show, or not next show, but we should do a
Oh,
top
yeah.
5 of all time.
Let's do another one right now.
all time. That one is gonna bring out some.
There's no way you guys do the all-time one short.
Soon.
Yeah.
No. It's gonna
I
be-
think the trouble with that too is we might have games on our top 5 that some of us have not even sniffed around playing.
No, probably
Mhm.
not.
It's possible. Anyways,
That
Champ-
and you're talking about the most sacred of sacred cows for the
Right.
person.
right.
Yeah.
Champ, anything you want to plug before we get out?
If you like my obnoxious work or would like to know what is Champ like when he's not being obnoxious, check me and my crew out at endlessbacklog.com. Also subscribe to our podcast because it's actually pretty good.
All right. And I want to say thank you to everyone who listened to this incredibly long podcast, and we greatly appreciate it. I'm going to kick everything over to the hashtag legendary Heil68.
Yeah, thanks. This cast won't be edited since it's so long, so maybe we'll see.
Great. I will find you and I will fucking kill you.
That part will be edited.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah,
that
yeah,
part
we'll
out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Later.